Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about HTTP status codes. So this is something that we might have talked about before in one of the other workshop lectures, but we're going to talk about how we can do it in Express. So to start off, let's just recap on what status codes are. Essentially, it's a way for servers to tell clients about the status of their request after it happened. So here we have a list of basically all the status codes. The most common ones are going to be like 200 variants, and that just means a successful request was sent. So, for example, 200 OK or 201 created. Those are really popular. A 300 status code means that the request was successful, but the client needs to do something else, like redirect or maybe do something with caching. So yeah, 300s are also a thing. 400s have to do with an error that the client is responsible for. So we have here, for example, a 400 is a bad request or an unauthorized. Of course, everybody's favorite 404. And then finally, we have 500 status codes. And so 500 status codes mean that something bad happened on the server side. So there's lots of different variations. Maybe your database connection crashed or something, but you're telling the client that the request was not successful, but it was not their fault, it was your fault. Okay, cool. So now that we talked about kind of all these different status codes, let's see how we do those inside of Express. So I still have my same Express app here, so we can come back and let me get rid of that URL. So we still have our Welcome to Express showing up. So let's just send a status code, and the way we do that is by saying status, and here let's do 201. And so again, node restarted. So inside of Chrome, we actually don't see a difference. So instead, let's pull up Postman, our trusty best friend here, to help us check out what's going on. So let me just change this. We'll make this a GET request to match what we have over here. And we'll send this along, and we'll see that we are now getting this status 201 created here. It's really small, but it's there, and it's telling us what the status code was. And so here I can basically put anything in. So we can put like a 301. Let me save that, and we'll send a request. And we're going to see that it's telling us that the resource has moved permanently. Let's do everybody's favorite of a 404. And we get not found. So we see that this is how we can set status codes when we're sending back our responses from Express. But the important thing to realize is in all of these different things, the message welcome to Express was still coming through. So even though I passed in a status code of 404, my content, my payload, was actually not really matching that status code. So this is where it really comes down to the developer to be responsible and make sure that the status code matches the content that they're sending. Especially you see that here inside of Chrome. There's nothing on this UI that shows us what the status code was. So there's actually another way we can do this as well inside of Express. So let me show you that really quick. So we're going to make another route here, and we're going to pass in status, and then let's pass in code. So here you see that again we're using route parameters just like last time, just to kind of make this a cooler example. Alright, and then I'm going to say res.send status and then rec.params.code. So this is a nifty function that Express is giving us, and essentially it's going to send a response back with the proper status code and with a payload that matches what that status code means. So let's give it a try over here. So we're going to hit status, and let's do a 202 to try this. And we'll see that we got a 202 accepted, and then the text accepted. Okay, let's try this one more time. And let's pass in a status code of 418. And we'll see that the response we're getting is 418, I'm a teapot. And the content is, again, I'm a teapot. This is one of my favorite HTTP codes. And it's hilarious that it's real. Like, it started off as an April Fool's joke, and they just never got rid of it. All right, so that was a brief introduction of status codes using Express, and I hope that you'll use them in the future. It's not something that's like strictly enforced, but it's definitely a good practice. Awesome.